We're here with Representative Sharon Wylie from the 49th District. How are you doing today?
Great.
So from now until the next 10 days, you guys are going to be passing bills on the floor day and night and afternoon and all the time. Is that correct?
In addition to that, we'll be also hearing the Senate bills that have made it through the Senate and are now being heard here. But primarily, we're going to be trying to meet the deadline to get bills through their House of Origin and over to the Senate by the proper deadline.
So while we're talking about that, can you please remind us what the process is?
Well, the bill is introduced and it gets signatures and then it gets assigned to the most appropriate committee. If there's new revenue attached, it'll go to the Finance Committee and probably to Appropriations. If it's just a spending bill that costs money, then it'll also go to Appropriations after it goes to its Policy Committee. So if it's a higher education bill, it goes to higher education. If it costs money, it then goes to Appropriations. Then it goes to the Rules Committee where it sits until it is pulled to the floor of the House where it then gets a vote.
Okay, and so right now what you guys are doing are passing all these bills that came out of the Rules Committee.
They're being pulled out of the Rules Committee. We have quite a long list of those that have already come out of the Rules Committee, and then the flow keeps coming and we keep passing them, and some of them are difficult to pass and some of them nobody disagrees with them. They're good bills, there's no controversy, and they just go right through.
And since we're talking about the Rules Committee, would you talk about your primaries elections bill?
What we have right now is a situation where if you're in a special election because you were just appointed and there aren't a lot of candidates on the ballot, then you're not on the ballot until the general election. And what that means in a compressed time frame is that you are forced to raise more money in order to get your name known. And the voters have a very small period of time to get to know who you are, what your positions are, and what you stand for. And so my bill would just say that even if there's only 2 people on the ballot, they appear on the ballot. In the regular election cycle, that is the case, and sometimes people do ask, does this end it? Are you going to be elected, or are you going to be on both ballots? And you explain that you're on both ballots. If you are not on that ballot, what happens is that people don't pay attention to that race until the very last moment, and they don't get a chance to know you.
And lastly, would you give us an update on your license plate bill?
Well, that bill has turned out to be very interesting. A lot of people have their fingerprints on it at this point, but the intent of the bill, the integrity of the intent, is being maintained, and that's the important thing. What the bill does now, instead of extending a really awkward system where every 7 years you have to replace your license plate and then extending it out, what we've done is discovered that what other states do makes some sense, which is that when you change your car, you change your license plate. And we also are going to make it very, very clear how important the money is that goes to parks, and that people know how to do that, and that makes it very clear that if you really want to keep your license plate number and pay a few dollars extra for that, it's easy to do. A lot of us would love to keep the same number and not have to memorize a new one, especially as we get older. And so this would make it easier to do that. But the important thing is that it keeps old license plates out of the landfill, it keeps them out of the hands of criminals that use them for bad purposes and steal identity, and it keeps those of us who hate looking for a tool to go out in the rain and change our license plate when it's perfectly good from having to do that. And a lot of folks told me how annoying that was.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the update, and we wish you luck in these long days that you're going to have ahead of you.
Well, I feel honored to be here, and I've been getting lots of visits from people at home, and that's always great.